And, Coach, let's talk about that thrilling game on Sunday against Anderson. Your team got out to the big start, 21-0, behind great rushing by L.J. Turner and that performance by the offensive line. But what happened when you got up 21-0? Did everybody just kind of ease up a little bit, think it was going to be a piece of cake, and then you had to really fight hard?
Yeah. Before we get to that, always have some thank yous to make sure this show happens. Thank you to President Nelson and his family. Thank you to the Graham family for sponsoring this show. Thank you to Michelle Cadigan, our entire athletic department. Thank you to the Dees family, Maddox, everyone in the development office to make this show happen. Most importantly, thank you to everyone listening online, watching on YouTube. We're looking forward to being back at Schuford Stadium this Saturday, 6 p.m. For get some momentum to build another one, to get another win. To the game, we started off on fire. That's the first time I felt like we were in control of the game on all aspects. But as you said, up 21-0. That's not the end of the game. That's about the middle of the second quarter. There's a whole lot of football to be played. I would love to see us continue to attack and execute at a high level. That could have been woulda, should have been a 40, 50-something game, but it wasn't. So got into a close one.
Now, going into the game, did you know that you could exploit that side of the Anderson defensive line? Did you see that on film? Was that something you really focused on going in, or was that something that once you had some success, you just said, well, let's just keep doing it?
Yeah. Well, credit to Coach Jordan Sopchak, Brian Collins, the entire offensive staff. Those guys have come up with a great game plan week in and week out. The cool thing about our offense is, as we've said before, is you've got to pick your poison with us now. You know, Preston being down, everyone knows he's down. He's going to be down. We have a young quarterback in Hunter Shepard who we have a lot of respect for, a ton of trust in, but also understand that he's a freshman. So we challenged our offensive line. We challenged our tight ends. We challenged our running backs of how can we dominate the line of scrimmage? What can we do? Can we take the pressure off of Hunter? And we did. And the cool thing about it, even when they tried to stop us, they couldn't. And that was a pretty cool feeling.
Now, a couple weeks ago when LJ came off his 110-yard performance against UVA Wise, he sat up here and said, yeah, he'd like to be the guy to carry the ball 30 sometimes a football game. Well, it worked out this week. He got to carry 35 times. LJ, did you know that going in? Did you know you were going to get the ball that many times going into the game?
Honestly, I had no idea. I didn't expect it at all. I thought we was going to do the same thing we've been doing, just keep rotating because we got new guys. So.
Now, as the game went on, some of those runs, you hit the line of scrimmage and were basically untouched until you got 7, 8 yards down the field. I was going to ask if you're worn out from 35 carries a game, but when you didn't get hit that much, probably not. Huh? You just ready to go.
No, you got an O-line as good as the people I got. There's no reason to get tired.
Now, did you know, and Coach, did you know as well, as the game was going on, you're probably not aware of how close he is to setting single game records in yardage and touchdowns. Does that ever factor in? Does somebody make you aware of that, or just whatever it is?
No, we're trying to win the game. And I'll be honest with you, 35 carries was great, and if he wasn't cramping up in his hand and his foot and his ankle and his calf, he probably would have got about 45 carries. So we knew he was doing well. When you're averaging over 10 yards a carry at that many touches, we're going to keep giving the ball as often as we can.
Well, that record in yardage, 329 yards, broke the record of 298 set by Todd Scott back in 1990. So that record lasted for 34 years. And I don't know if you're aware, your 5 touchdowns tied the school record set in 1936 by Red Meehan. So that record lasted 88 years. Like you said, if you didn't have those cramps, you'd have been in solo on touchdowns probably as well.
It might have been a different game.
But your backup, Kevon Rivera, he did a great job when he came in. He got 17 carries for 83 yards, and he got the game-winning touchdown. I know that would have been the icing on the cake for you to get that game-winning touchdown, but great to see your other guys step in and have the success you had as well, isn't it?
No doubt. I'm real happy Kayvon got in and got the last touchdown.
Yeah, Kayvon's a true freshman. And for him to step up like he did is again, a tribute to the offensive line. And LJ did a great job, not taking anything away from him. But the cool thing about it is, didn't matter who was carrying the ball, they were still gaining yards, and that's a tribute to the guys up front.
And, Coach, I want to ask you, I looked at the numbers from the game. In 74 plays, your team averaged 6.8 yards a play. That's outstanding. Anderson, though, on the other side, 57 plays, they got 7.5 yards a game. They hit some pretty big plays against you. That's just what happened on some of those plays.
Yeah, but there were busts on the back end. When you have guys running free, if there's no one covering them, that's a problem. And that's not the intent. That's not it's not the coach's fault. It's not the player's fault. It's the head coach's fault that they weren't prepared. There was plays that we had not seen. And credit to Coach Lamb and Anderson for doing some things that we had not seen on film. But yeah, when guys are wide open, that's a problem. And I know we're going to correct it. I think the biggest thing is we've got to continue to get pressure on the quarterback. I think any quarterback that feels comfortable in the pocket will find open guys eventually, and that's what they were able to do.
And I have to ask you, what were you thinking on the sidelines? 2:54 to go, you get a touchdown, you're up 10 points. They come back and get a touchdown. Still looks like it's going to be okay. You know the onside kick is coming. That ball was going sideways, only going 8 yards, and all of a sudden it takes a crazy bounce and it's 10 yards and they recover. What were you thinking at that point?
Well, when it was kicked, probably like everybody that's listening or anybody that watched the game, I thought there was no way it was going 10 yards. No way. And I thought the kid shanked it. But it happened to be the best onside kick I've ever seen in my life, doing this for 16 years, and that was the best kick I've ever seen. We're trained, again, obviously it's got to go 10 yards. It bounced at 2 yards, at 3 yards, it started trickling. Our guys are ready, but by that time, they're there too, and it just become a mosh pit. So it was the best kick I've ever seen. I don't think we could have executed any better. It was a credit to them that they got it. Somebody's got to make a play. Offenses, defense has got to stop them. Special teams have got to get that ball. And obviously, as we get into overtime, we did make the plays to win, but we needed somebody to step up a little earlier.
And LJ, one last question for you here. We talked a couple weeks ago, when you take that handoff, you kind of hesitate a little bit, and that's by design, right? Because you want to let your lineman engage their defender and figure out where to go when you're running, but you can't hesitate too long. So what's that like when you get the ball and you're watching the blocking? What does that look like to you, and how do you figure out where you're going?
So basically, how it's designed is, I can use like 10 for example. It's hold on. Okay, so basically, the center's there. The center will go that way. I just look at the back of the center. If the linebacker comes this way, I'll go that way. If the linebacker comes that way, then I'll go that way. I think I said that right.
Just go where they're not, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Run to daylight, as they say.
The cool thing about it, and what LJ is trying to explain too, is we narrow his vision down. He's not looking at the entire thing, like looking for an open window. He's reading a specific guy, and when that specific guy does something, that allows him to be, as you said, aggressive once he gets that read.
Okay, so as usual, after Coach Haynes' first segment, after the first segment of the show, we have a trivia question, and we'll transition. We'll get some big offensive linemen up here in a minute to talk to them. But our trivia question this week, prior to L.J. Turner running for 329 yards on Sunday, I want to know who was the last Catawba player to rush for over 200 yards in one game. Who was the last Catawba player to rush for over 200 yards in one game? And we'll have the answer for that coming up after we talk to these big offensive linemen. So, Coach, thanks. You'll be back at the end of the show. LJ, congratulations on the Player of the Week honors.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work. We'll look for a big game for you this week.
Thank you.
All right, so let's transition and get some big offensive linemen up here. I don't know where Coach finds them, but he keeps bringing bigger players in here every week. Each and every week we've got bigger guys coming up here to the podium. So we've got guard Jalen Brooks and tackle Avery Swinton. Jalen is a junior, 6'4", 330 pounds, out of Charlotte, North Carolina, played at Providence High School. And Avery Swinton, a 6'2", 285-pound junior out of Jacksonville, Florida. And I'll tell you what, you guys had a great game on Saturday. You led the way for 408 yards rushing by the Catawba Indians. So I have to ask you, physically up front, did you know going in that they were going to run behind you for most of the yards? Did you know going in that they were coming behind you guys and you were going to have to clear out that side of the line going into the game?
I'm not going to lie, yes, sir, we did. Throughout the week, Coach Collins kind of told us that it's going to lie on us this week as the offensive line to protect Hunter when he throws the ball, as well as LJ when he runs the ball. So we kind of knew that a lot of the workload was going to fall on us, but we didn't know that we were going to rush for that many yards, you know what I mean? So, like throughout the week, as I said, Coach Collins did tell us and warn us that it's going to be physically it's going to be tolling, but yeah, that's about it.
And I have to ask about blocking assignments. Are there blocking rules that you have to follow based on how the defense lines up in certain gaps? Are there certain rules that you have to follow on every play? Or do you guys institute zone blocking where you're just trying to get everybody going in one direction? How do how do you determine what you're going to do? How's the blocking assignments? How do you know?
So we have a very experienced and very good center in Kenyon James back there. He makes all the calls, and, you know, he tells us what to do. And we kind of just follow along, you know. So he makes things very simple for us. He tells us to go this direction, we go in that direction. You know, we pick everything up, and that's about it.
So when he's making the calls out there, I see him with his head up barking those signals. What is he telling you when he barks out those assignments?
Pick up this guy, pick up that guy, leave this guy, leave that guy. You know, it's very simple. You know, people might like to make it very confusing and think that we're doing a lot of stuff, but we're just blocking and picking up guys and thrashing them. That's all.
And when you're having as much success as you guys had on Sunday, what does that feel like in the huddle? What does that feel like for you personally when you're dominating up front and your running backs chewing up big chunks of yards? What's that feel like?
You just feel confident. You know, you just want, that's the only thing you want to do is just run the rock. Yeah, it just feels good.
Yeah.
Now, Jalen, you came to Catawba, and when you came here, you played both offense and defense.
Yes, sir.
The first year you played. How did they determine to put you on offense? Did you say, I want to play offense, or did they figure out that was the best fit for the team, or how did that come about to put you on the offensive line?
It was more of a what's best for the team. You know, honestly, we were rebuilding at the time, and I just wanted to contribute the best way that I could. So, you know, I spoke to the DC, I spoke to the OC, and we kind of had conversations as to what I should do. But wherever they put me is wherever I wanted to play. So it was just a matter of what was needed the most.
And Avery, when you were making a decision to come to Catawba, coming up here from Jacksonville, Florida, what was the biggest factor to lead you to come to Catawba College?
It's just whatever felt most like home. You know, being 5+ hours away from home, you just want something that could somewhat resemble, you know, what you felt like at home, you know, that camaraderie and the warmth that you feel. And that's why I came here, is because that's what I felt when I came on my visit here. So, yeah.
And speaking of that camaraderie, the offensive linemen, how often do you guys hang out together? What do you do off the football field to continue that cohesiveness as a unit?
We're together damn near all the time, honestly. We eat together. We have conversations. We practice together, of course, and even outside of all that, we like to check up on each other, make sure we're doing good, because it's like a family. And without us doing the right things, the offense doesn't work. So we try to be as close as humanly possible.
And I like to ask everybody when they come up here, because I know academics is a big part of why you come to Catawba College. So, Avery, you first. What are you majoring in, and what are your future plans?
Okay, so I'm majoring in sports management. I'm a minor in business. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that yet. You know, I'm open to really anywhere. You know, if I have an opportunity in North Carolina, I'll take it. If I have an opportunity back in Florida, I'll take it. But as of now, I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet. But I know it's some in the business world.
Okay, and Jalen, how about you?
I don't know for sure yet. I'm still trying to kind of figure things out, but I think in the long run, I want to open up my own gym, you know, somewhere close, and just kind of serve the people in my community. I think that'd be super cool.
Okay, that sounds good. Congratulations on a great game this week, and let's look forward to more of those rushing performances from the Catawba Indians the rest of this season.
Yes, sir. Thank you to the Graham family, by the way. I almost forgot to do that.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah. So thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, so let's transition now to another sport that's having a successful fall season on the Catawba campus. We're going to talk about cross country. We're going to bring up Jason Bryan. He's the head coach. This is his 11th season as the head coach of men's and women's cross country, and he'll be in his 8th season as the head men's and women's coach in track and field. So, Coach Bryan, that's quite a busy year for you throughout the year, cross country in the fall, track and field in this winter and spring. Running is something that a lot of people do and a lot of people are interested in, but what makes you enjoy coaching running?
Yeah, it's something that is universal, but I think it's something that translates to life. Teaching and coaching is what we do, and I think this age group, learning how to deal with adversity, you have good days in running, bad days in running, and it's something that allows us to use that to teach them life and how to overcome adversity with, you know, injuries and, you know, just the struggle that, you know, mentally running can be. It really helps as a coach to be able to teach them how to handle that and how they're going to handle that later on in life. So I enjoy that aspect of teaching.
Now, you were a runner in your college career. You graduated from Anderson University. How do you relate your experiences running to help your athletes?
Yeah, I mean, I was there. I was in that mindset. I've been there. I've dealt with some injuries. I've dealt with that adversity in the past. So I know kind of what's going through their minds. I actually have run on some of the courses that we still run on nowadays. So I've been in those races and seen those courses and things like that. So I do think that helps me kind of get in their head and figure out kind of what their, struggles can be and what it feels like to win. I've, won conference championships as an athlete, and I want that for our athletes. I want them to have that experience and that memory.
And you mentioned we want them to be successful. Right now, the women's team is ranked 2nd in the region. The men's team is ranked 5th in the region. What has led to the success of both teams?
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about our program that I'm very proud of is that our men's and women's teams have both had a lot of success, very equal. Like we finished 21st and 22nd in the country last year on the women's side and the men's side. And I think that's something, it's something that speaks a lot to the culture. I think our men's team and our women's team are very competitive, but they also respect each other, and they know that they both work really hard. And I think they see each other work hard on a daily basis. We practice together as a program. And we do a lot of things together, and I think that cohesiveness and that competitive environment and that respect that they have for each other has equaled that success.
And we mentioned the fact this is your 11th season as the cross-country coach. What's the biggest change you've seen with Catawba and with the athletic program through your years?
Oh, yeah. I think recently the excitement over the past few years has grown as our coaching staff has gotten more and more, high level. I feel like in the past few years, with the coaches on our different sports programs that we've brought in, I think we all compete in our own sports, but we also cheer for each other. I mean, I was on the way back from Pennsylvania the other day on the bus on Sunday with it on my phone, watching the football game. I was watching that, and I was yelling back to one of the guys on our team like, oh, they're going to overtime, and we're all on the bus like watching this. When women's basketball has success, when baseball has success, that is something that we all cheer each other on. So I think just the overall department and the school being, there's so much excitement around the school right now, and the growth and the new buildings that are being built, and I think the investments that are being made, I think there's just a lot of excitement. Michelle Cadigan has been a huge part of that. And just the leadership she's shown and just the competitiveness she brings every day. The environment is contagious, and I think that we've seen that in the results.
And one last quick question. When you're out recruiting runners to come to Catawba, what do you look for in the student athlete, and then how do you get them to come to Catawba?
Yeah, so it's that just the competitiveness. They have to want to compete. We've brought in several athletes over the past month that we're looking to bring in for next year, and we're always looking for that ability that they want to compete, they want to grow, they want to get better. They're okay dealing with adversity, and because they know that's a part of it. But I think that competitiveness is what we're looking for.
All right, Coach. Congratulations on a fine season so far, and
Thank you for
hopefully
having me.
success in the championships coming up. So let's get a couple of those runners up here. One from the men's team, one's from the women's team. And just while we're mentioning they're getting ready for a championship time down the stretch here, the South Atlantic Conference Championship will be October 26th at Newberry. The NCAA Regional Championship November 9th in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So I'm joined now by Hannah Cottle, a sophomore from Asheville, North Carolina, and Will Lyons, a member of the men's team. He's a junior from Denton, North Carolina. And Hannah, first I have to ask you, what was the biggest factor in you choosing to come to Catawba College?
Well, I think the biggest factor is just being able to meet people on the team and be able to meet Coach. I could tell he was a great coach, and he was going to push me to be the best that I can be. And it's definitely one thing I don't regret, and I'm so excited to just be representing the Catawba name every meet and every day here.
Okay, and Will, how about you? What was a big factor for you to choose Catawba?
This is a great team. We've had a lot of success here. I came on a visit, and I saw all the guys, and I really fell in love with the guys. You know, they're a great team, very closely knit, and you know that was something I just couldn't say no to. Coach gave me a great chance, and I took that chance, and I think ever since then it's just been great, and I love Catawba. So.
And Hannah, I understand that you have a twin brother, Seth, who is also running cross country here at Catawba. So what was that like throughout your high school years and training? And I imagine you ran together and pushed each other. What was that like having a twin brother to help you and help each other succeed?
It was great. I really contribute me joining running was because of him. I saw him compete and I saw him do races, and I thought it was just so exciting. And so I started running because of him, and I think it's just so exciting to have him at college with me and see him succeed and just push me. It helps me. It motivates me just having him so close. And that is another reason why I chose Catawba, was because he was going to come here, and it's just an honor to just be able to run with someone you love. So.
And Will, I want to ask you about practicing, training to be a cross-country runner, or if you're in track and field, maybe a distance event. How do you train? Do you just go out and put in the miles, or do you work certain days on sprinting certain distances? What's the training method like for you?
You know, obviously, yeah, we train hard. Like Coach was saying earlier, we have a very competitive team, and that's something that's definitely helped me reach things that I never thought I would be able to reach. So there's that, and this team has contributed to that, as well as, you know, we go in and we train, we run, obviously, but we'd have things like workouts where, you know, we'll have repeats and stuff, but, you know, that's all the boring stuff. We really compete with each other, and we make each other better, and that's really what has attributed to our success.
And Hannah, I want to congratulate you. You were the South Atlantic Conference Runner of the Week back in September when you captured your first individual title at the Catawba Fleet Feet Invitational here at Salisbury Community Park. I have to ask you, when you crossed that finish line first ahead of everybody, what's that feeling?
It was a great feeling. I definitely did not expect it, and I was coming down that home stretch, and I could hear my coach cheering, and my parents were there, and they were screaming at me. And the day before, my coach showed me the prize, and it was a little mug. And down that home stretch, all I wanted was that mug. And I got the mug, so it was a great feeling.
Motivation, huh?
Motivation,
that's what it takes,
right
the
there.
right motivation. So now the championship part of your season is coming up. So, Will, you first. What are you most looking forward to as you head into the championship part of the season?
You know, championship season is definitely my favorite part of the season. You know, we get to go out there against some ranked teams, some very talented guys. And I'm excited to go out there against, you know, one of the teams is #1 ranked in the nation, Wingate. I'm excited to compete against them. They're in our conference, in our region, and obviously in the nation. And we're excited to go out there against some good competition and, you know, run some fast times and kick some butt.
Hannah, how about you? What are you looking forward to?
I'm just so excited to go out with my team and just compete and just show the Catawba name and show what we're made of.
All right, so I wish you both the best of luck in your team, the best of luck here to the championship stretch. So thanks for joining us tonight on the Catawba Football Coaches Show.
Thank you.
Now we're going to get Coach Haynes back up here to talk about our upcoming game this week. And before we do so, just want to mention the answer to our trivia question. We asked who was the last Catawba player to rush for over 200 yards in a football game, and that player was Jamel Cuthbertson. Jamel Cuthbertson ran for 223 yards back in 2008 against Lenoir-Rhyne. So we mentioned LJ's great performance last week against Anderson. Can we look for more of the same this week against Limestone?
I hope so. That's what we've been working toward that. You know, Limestone's a really good football team. They're well coached. They're going to see on film what we saw on game day, so they're going to prepare for us. I do think we'll be able to run the football. I think we need to run the football. I do think we will have to open it up at times strategically. We always talk about taking care of the football, being efficient, winning on special teams, and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. We're going to have to do all 4 of those things to be successful.
Now, Coach, I want to ask you, are you having some sleepless nights this week? Because I look at the numbers. They have quarterback Dustin Noller, who leads the league in passing yardage and touchdown passes. Their running back is second behind L.J. Turner in rushing yards. They have a receiver that leads the conference in yardage and another one that leads it in touchdown catches. Is that causing any sleepless nights for you?
There's a lot of sleepless nights every week, and that's what we signed up for. This conference, the SAC conference is unbelievable. And, you know, our guys are going to go out there and compete. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We respect Limestone and what they do and their staff, and they have great players. They're undefeated in the conference. They were a playoff team last year. We know that. But the preparation doesn't change. The system doesn't change. We just work harder and grow and get better.
Now, the fact that you went on the road last year to Limestone and you dominated them pretty much in the first half of that ball game. You had the lead at halftime. They hit some plays in the second half and kind of shut you down a little bit. But how much confidence does that give your players knowing that you were ahead of them at halftime and dominating them? And how does that change their attitude coming into this week?
We honestly, we don't like looking backwards a whole lot in our program. We don't do that. We don't look at yesterday. I mean, we look at yesterday from a film perspective and learn from mistakes we made, but we move on. So looking back at that game, though, from what I remember is exactly what we said is we beat them 14-0 first half. We collapsed, and they took advantage of it. So, no, it doesn't mean anything to us other than we know we have the talent on this team to compete. We've had some unfortunate things happen, but it's next man up, and we look forward to a big time. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a four-quarter game, and we're up for the challenge.
Now, what's been a key so far this season, you and I talked up at UVA-wise, takeaways. So far on the season, we only have one takeaway on defense. Are you going to make any adjustments this week defensively, or are you working on anything to get takeaways from the other team?
Yeah, we always do takeaway drills. You know, you always do, and this is every team in America. You do the fumble recovery, you do the interceptions, you do the knock the ball out of the quarterback's hands. I think what needs to happen on our defense is we need to take a deep breath and play with confidence, because what has happened a little bit in my judgment and talking to our guys and evaluating our guys is we're humans, right? We make a mistake, and some guys are able to put that past and move on to the next play, and some guys get really tight. And that usually happens with young football teams. That's not an excuse. That's kind of how we've played thus far. I look forward to us taking that next step and playing with confidence.
And speaking of confidence, your linebackers are probably have the most confidence. They're flying all over the football field out there. But your defensive backs are really stepping up. You've got some new guys that worked in there, maybe due to some injuries. You got Jakari Martin back this week. Nigel Gay has been playing great at the corner position. Drew Daughter is stepping up at safety. What's the key for those guys out there defensively?
Eye discipline. Eye discipline. You know, as a defensive back, you have all these fast guys running at you and a quarterback scrambling all over. It's very easy sometimes when your eyes are supposed to be right here for them to look somewhere else. And the second you do that, it's a problem. So it's just discipline, eye discipline. Those are a bunch of young football players. They've continued, as I said, to grow. We need those DBs to play well this week.
So what do you think will be the keys for your team to come out on top this week?
Always the same thing, the turnover battle. We need to win the turnover battle, as you mentioned. Number 2 is efficiency on offense and defense. Win every single down. We have goals for every single down. And win special teams. Our special teams, we had a 44-yard field goal. Bryson Sims, really proud of him for doing that. Look forward to our special teams continuing to get better at what they do and be the most excited team to play. We get an opportunity on Saturday to play in front of our friends and families. You only get so many opportunities in your career to do that, to coach in front of those people, to play in front of those people, and we want to take advantage of it on Saturday.
Okay, another exciting game coming up. The Limestone Saints visit on Saturday night, 6 p.m. kickoff. You can tune in on Memories Radio to listen to all the action. And, Coach, as always, let's take it out.
You got it. Appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much. Cat U on 3. 1, 2, 3.